Hello, I'm the Media Wiz, because one art form wasn't enough. Let's talk about Gremlins 2. Again. Yeah, if you don't remember, I did a review of this movie, but it was very short, and it was many, many years ago, so I didn't really go into a whole lot of detail the first time around, but I'm here to make up for that now. What can be said about the original Gremlins? Released in 1984, the movie made such a big splash with a relatively small budget for the time and a simple concept. Cute little critters that turn deadly if you disobey the crucial rule of feeding them after midnight. It was a fun creature feature with the perfect mix of humor, heart, and horror. From the memorable creatures, to the likable cast of characters, to the fantastic practical effects. With a budget of $11 million, it made Warner Brothers very happy with a $150 million box office return in the US alone. Even a minor outburst from concerned parent groups that led to the invention of the PG-13 rating couldn't stop the movie's success. Then came the media tie-ins like the toys, the video games, the books, you name it. So, with all the hype for Gremlins going on, you know the studio were ready to cash in with another. That didn't end up happening until 6 years later, mainly because they could never land on a script they really liked. Most of the spec scripts coming in just being blatant rehashes of the first movie. So, in a rare move, Warner Brothers decided to get the original director Joe Dante back and asked him if he'd be interested in doing a new Gremlins movie himself. He took the job under the stipulation that he gets to do the movie his way. While the execs were initially skeptical of the idea of putting the Gremlins in the big city, they eventually took it, giving them a $50 million budget to work with. And that's how we got the Gremlins 2 we know today. Well, ever since my initial review, it seems a lot of people have jumped on the wagon saying that this movie's a lot better than critics initially said it was, so let's see if this movie still holds up after all these years. This is Gremlins 2. We begin with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, perfectly setting the stage for this outlandish movie you're about to see, complete with animation done by the legend himself, Chuck Jones, who they brought out of retirement for this. Ah yes, back in the 90s when Warner Brothers still pretended to care about Looney Tunes as an IP. Nowadays, the only way for them to release a movie featuring those characters is if enough people complain about it on the internet. The movie proper begins in the Big Apple, New York City, as we zoom in on the place from the Chinatown market Mr. Peltzer went to in the first movie. Or maybe it moved, since this one doesn't have dramatic nighttime lighting and it seems the entrance appears different this time around. Anyway, this guy Forrester, played by Dante regular Robert Picardo, arrives at Mr. Wing's Emporium to send him a message from his boss, real estate and media mogul Daniel Clamp, via the ever so impressive technology, at least at the time, VHS.
Now, Mr. Wing, you're attached to your business. I appreciate that. I'm attached to my business. I develop the biggest buildings in New York.
Originally intended to be the movie's villain, Daniel Clamp is played by John Glover, and was intended to be a mix between Ted Turner and Donald Trump.
I've been thinking Mr. Clamp would make a great president.
Suck it, Simpsons. Gremlins 2 knew this crap was going to happen long before you did. So give it to Clamp, he seems drastically different from a lot of Trump parodies, and even the man himself now. We'll get more into that later, but Glover plays the character more misguided than outright evil. But as for now, he wants to buy out the real estate from Mr. Wing so he can build a new modernized version of Chinatown. But Mr. Wing isn't selling and respectfully declines. But because he has a cough, you know he's unfortunately going to pass in just a little bit. Leaving the TV as a parting gift, we see good old Gizmo once again as he begins watching some Rambo 2. Jump forward a mere 6 weeks later and Mr. Wing has passed, meaning Clamp and his construction crew start tearing the place down. Gizmo manages to escape the collapse and ends up getting picked up by some scientists wandering the streets. Also ignore the fact that Gizmo is currently outside in the middle of a sunny day. He is being shaded by the alleyway that he's in. Also, this movie seems to pick and choose what rules matter, and even later on, they mock the rules from the first movie, so take your nitpicking back to CinemaSins. We're now reintroduced to Billy and Kate, once again played by Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates. They're engaged now, and both working at Clamp Tower.
Welcome to the Clamp Entry-Matic, a revolution in revolving door precision and efficiency.
Despite not getting the best pay in this place, Billy and Kate truly haven't let go of their childlike innocence from the first movie. As they part for the day, Billy meets up with his boss, Marla Bloodstone, played as an exaggerated New York stereotype by Caroline from 16 Candles. And yes, if you're curious, she is in fact named Marla after Trump's second wife, Marla Maples.
It'll be better with the trees.
Are they going to plant trees there?
No. But you're going to draw them.
They establish Forrester as not liking Billy very much and being a total kiss-ass to Clamp, though unlike Judge Reinhold's character from the first movie, his subplot won't be trimmed down that much. We also see this place is against potted plants, colors, basic worker rights like privacy. It's just a notch above the company from Brazil, come to think of it. All the technology in this place is meant to be a staunch contrast to Mr. Wing, who was very anti-technology and pro-mysticism. Yeah, jump forward to now, and smart technology that's constantly breaking down is just flat-out reality. This isn't even satire anymore, it was just ahead of its time. But this place isn't just a generic business building, it also has tons of floors dedicated to filming a variety of different TV broadcasts, like this Kmart Grandpa Al Lewis TV horror host.
Actually, the name of the movie being shown is Octoman, not Attack of the Octopus People. That was the first movie Rick Baker ever did effects for before he went on to do the practical effects for this movie. I seriously hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
This is Grandpa Fred, played by Robert Prosky. He spends his time doing interludes for horror movies that are being aired on TV, though he's not really happy with that job description. Instead, he dreamed about being a journalist and doing interviews, not talking about silly fiction-based media. Well, I gotta say, he's handling it a lot better than most gaming journalists do nowadays. A lot of them don't even try to hide the fact they don't know anything about video games. On top of that, this place also has a genetics laboratory on the higher floors, doing animal experimentation. All research being led by the late, great Christopher Lee.
Just rabies. I've got rabies. And I'm supposed to get the flu this week.
I think we have the flu up backward.
Could I have that, Peggy?
Catching up with those scientists from earlier, they unveil Gizmo to Dr. Hammer Dracula over here. They show off Gizmo's new full-body dancing abilities set to some Fats Domino. Originally, they intended it to be a Billy Idol song, but they couldn't get the rights to it in time. But the doctors waste no time, proclaiming they'll need some bone tissue, blood work, and other painful procedures.
Christopher Lee playing a bad guy? I've never seen that before, aside from virtually every movie he's ever been in.
After hearing a delivery boy whistling similarly to Gizmo, Billy heads up there and finds his old friend. He swipes the Mogwai and manages to get out unseen by unleashing some lab monkeys. He plans to take Gizmo home with him, but he just really needs to get some work done first. And despite not liking the trees in the picture, Clamp is impressed with Billy's work, and Marla takes a liking to him too, asking him out to dinner.
To have dinner with you.
Well, I just don't think that I can, just kind of leave.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
As Billy goes to ask Kate if she can pick up Gizmo, Gizmo already escapes the file cabinet he was hiding in. Billy assures her to just follow the rules and they should be fine, but in enters a John Astin cameo as a repairman fixing a water fountain, and Gizmo gets hit with the spray as he begins multiplying 4 new Mogwais, each of them having distinct looks and personalities. Mohawk is like a new version of Stripe, these two are supposed to be George and Lenny from Of Mice and Men, and this one is supposed to be Daffy Duck. And of course all the new Mogwais are evil, torturing Gizmo and shoving him into an air duct.
Do you think there was ever a time where a Mogwai got wet and spawned other Mogwais that weren't evil? Or is that just like a 1 in a million chance?
Kate shows up and mistakes Daffy for Gizmo, after Billy is nearly taken advantage of by Marla at a stereotypically Canadian-themed fancy restaurant. Billy manages to make it home and discovers this Mogwai is in fact not Gizmo. Before they can head back to the office, the Futtermans show up to remind us they apparently didn't die in the first movie. These two being played by good old Dick Miller and Jackie Joseph once again. Our heroes make it back to Clamp Tower, and it seems the Mogwais are eating away in the food court, and it's after midnight. With this information, Billy tries to disable the water valves so they don't get wet and multiply, but they're stopped by a security guard.
I really wouldn't do this if I were you.
Yeah, but you aren't me, are you?
Oh, so that's where Tim Burton got the idea for the nose biting in Batman Returns.
Despite all of that, the guard still takes Billy away and Kate has to bail him out, as a bunch of mimes are being brought into the station. I swear, this movie is so absurd, I love it. But it seems while they were away from the building, the gremlin eggs are already hatching in their gross, dripping, disgusting glory. And once again, they set their sights on torturing poor Gizmo. Billy and Kate rush to the lobby to arm themselves with flashlights, but Kate has to start her shift, leading Billy to head up to the control room where Forrester has a hard time believing his wild stories about little monsters that change when eating after midnight, leading to the rest of the crew taking jabs at the first movie's rules.
What if they're eating in an airplane and they cross a time zone? I mean, it's always midnight somewhere.
Meanwhile, with Kate, she's showing around a tour group on the floor where they broadcast their television shows, heading into a live taping of Microwaving with Marge, a show where you can learn to make weird foods with just a microwave and a ton of alcohol. Many years later, the Food Network would take that idea and give Sandra Lee her own show. Seriously, who thought that was a good idea? Have you seen that woman's cooking?
Let us ladle up some of our chowder noodles.
Okay, I know that's supposed to be a play on the microwave scene from the first movie, but screw it. Cut to the clip.
Is it a good idea to microwave this?
Sparks go off, and so do the sprinkler systems, causing these guys to get wet and spawn a ton more gremlins with even more grotesque practical effects. Everyone flees for their lives, and Kate has to wrangle up this one guy with a camera, Mr. Katsuji, played by another 16 Candles actor, Gennady Watanabe, though I think I'll always remember him as George from UHF.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
However, it was not very smart on Kate's part to get into the elevator, as the gremlins begin messing with the wiring. The elevator slams into the floor below, but thankfully she's fine, only killing the gremlins that were there. And things don't look very good for Clamp as he's attacked in his own office. He manages to stop the gremlin that's attacking him by shoving it into the paper shredder. Being the businessman that he is, he tells Billy and Forrester that he wants this gremlin infestation taken care of discreetly, with no cops or news media reporting on it. Meanwhile, we get another cameo, this time from Leonard Maltin, who infamously gave the first movie a negative review. Well, at least he was a good enough sport to show up in this one. Just don't tell the Gremlins how he felt about this movie. I don't think he had a whole lot of good things to say about this one. The Gremlins make their way into the science lab and begin chugging down potions, and we get a whole smorgasbord of new Gremlins, starting with the intelligent and well-spoken Brain Gremlin, voiced by Tony Randall.
Talk a little bit about what's going on in this room, because I think there are some fascinating ramifications here for the future.
There's also a vegetable gremlin and now a bat gremlin, which flies out of the building after being given a chemical that makes him survive in sunlight. And he also leaves the Batman logo as he flies out of there. Hey, did you know that the big summer blockbuster Warner Brothers had the year previous was Batman? Could you possibly tell that fact? The bat gremlin attacks the Futtermans, nobody really caring in the background. Then again, it is New York we're talking here. I think even if the Gremlins did manage to get out to the streets, I think New York could handle them. As Mr. Futterman manages to throw the bat gremlin into some wet cement, and as he flies away, he lands on the cathedral, freezing in place and making a pretty awesome gargoyle. Anyway, what's going on back at Clamp Tower? Ah yes, the famous scene where the Gremlins break the movie itself. After taking a shot at concerned parents that were complaining about the first movie being too scary for kids, a theater usher goes to get a cameoing Hulk Hogan to yell at the Gremlins to put the movie back on.
Do you think the Gremsters can stand up to the Hulkster? Well, if I were you, I'd run the rest of Gremlins too, right now!
A bit that they even went ahead and changed for the VHS release, swapping out Hulk Hogan with John Wayne, who tells the Gremlins to fix the tape. However, there were no alterations made for the DVD, Blu-ray, or even streaming releases. I can see why, because they want to preserve the original movie, but how do you think they would have gone about it? Have the DVD freeze? Or have streaming start to load and then have the silhouettes of the Gremlins show up? Because honestly, I think most of the time I use streaming, it's just like that anyway. Grandpa Fred sees the news reports outside of the building, and he figures that this could be his chance to get into news, grabbing Mr. Katsuji with his camera, and he lands an interview with the Brain Gremlin. Back with our heroes, Billy heads back to the science lab, where we get even more gremlins. An electric gremlin that kills Dr. Catheter, a spider gremlin, and even...
What a hunk!
Wow. I gotta say, some of these new Star Wars spin-offs are actually looking a lot better. Lady Yoda looks like a vast improvement from some of the last few shows they tried. Clamp is realizing everything's going wrong, especially once Grandpa Fred's broadcast hits the television. Just as the electric gremlin shows up and tries to kill them, they manage to trap him in the phone and keep him on hold. They formulate a plan to trick the gremlins by moving all the clocks in the building forward and trick them into running out into the sunlight, which should kill them. Clamp uses his secret exit to make it out of the building unseen before he's swarmed by reporters. Mr. Futterman sees it, and before it closes, he uses it to get inside the building. Billy is knocked out and taken to be attacked by Daffy before Futterman shows up and saves him. Meanwhile, Gizmo starts working on a makeshift weapon, while Kate finds Marla tangled up in a web left by the spider gremlin. Before the spider gremlin can do anything to them, Gizmo shows up ready to get some payback for his torment from earlier, saving his friends Rambo style, shooting a flaming arrow into Mohawk. So now all our crucial characters are here, and it's time for their plans to go into action. That is until Lincoln is brought up, leading to another play on the first movie.
Terrible happened to me one year on Lincoln's birthday.
Well, it seems all the gremlins have gathered together in the lobby and are singing an out-and-out musical number. I swear, this movie gets even more insane as it goes on, and I love it. So, all they need to do is drop the veil of night that they have hoisted over the lobby windows, expose them all to sunlight, and kill them, right? Well, uh-oh. It begins raining.
Summer rains, you can never predict them.
So our heroes need a new plan, coming to the idea that they'll hose them down, get them soaking wet, before they unleash the electric gremlin, which then electrocutes the hell out of all of them. And so, the gremlins are defeated. Originally, the plan was to have all the gremlins go to the lobby and they would fill the building up with concrete, as a way to pay off the concrete scene from earlier in the movie. But they ultimately didn't go with it because Warner Brothers deemed it would be too expensive to do. The day is saved, Clamp has a change of heart, and he says he'll switch his business model to building small towns because he liked Billy's painting of his hometown from earlier. We get another meta joke about the merchandising.
Look at him. You know what I see?
What's that, sir?
Dolls with suction cups staring out car windows. A big float in the Macy's Day Parade. Has anybody ever talked to you about merchandising?
And so the movie ends with this. So, I guess he liked it then. Don't look too deep into that. So that was Gremlins 2. It's insane, manic, chaotic, and completely nonsensical. And damn it, do I love it. Just like the movie I reviewed last week, this is another example of a movie not doing well upon release, but slowly getting an audience over time. And while I may not be a big fan of Mars Attacks, I can definitely see the appeal with this movie. It didn't make the numbers that Warner wanted at the time, losing out to Disney's Dick Tracy movie that came out that summer. It may have flopped at the box office, audiences didn't seem to care about it this time around, though a lot of people seem to chalk that up to the movie coming out 6 years after the first one. And jump forward to now, a lot of people seem to appreciate the fact the movie just throws the rules out the window, instead making an hour-and-a-half self-aware chaos fest. Joe Dante was given carte blanche to do whatever he wanted with this, and honestly, that's what I love the most about it. Along with that, it's good to see the characters again, the Gremlin shenanigans are fun, the practical effects are great, and the movie's nonstop insanity is a blast. It doesn't do what a lot of sequels did at the time, where it just felt like a lackluster repeat of the first one, which is partially why I'm not so excited for Gremlins 3. That's not going to have any Joe Dante, creative vision, or go off of any of the plot ideas Red Letter Media came up with. It'll probably just be another mid or crap legacy sequel, cashing in on brand recognition with tons of nostalgic callbacks and a lack of its own identity. Guess we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. I mean, I generally don't like legacy sequels, but every once in a blue moon I find myself enjoying one or two of them, so who knows, maybe that will be one of the rare exceptions. Anyway, I highly recommend checking out the two Gremlin movies. The first one is a genuinely good movie, and the second one is just an absolutely madcap, subversive twist on everything the first movie was. I highly recommend checking them both out. Until next time, I'm the Media Wiz, because one art form wasn't enough.